How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's EDC. It is a beautiful Sunday here in New Hampshire, and today we are going to talk about something very exciting to me, my beloved Benchmade 940 Osborne. This is one of my favorite knives of all time. I've had this for years and years. I'm sure you guys have seen this one on Instagram and on the channel. It's pretty beat up. We're going to talk about this, and it's going to be an ode to the 940 today because, as we all know, a couple weeks ago, Benchmade finally put the 940 on their custom shop for an option that you can customize for yourself. So I figured I would do a little bit of an update video because I have used this for many years, and, you know, I have some stories to share with you guys about it. But before we get into that, just want to show off Wednesday real quick here because, of course, she is in the pocket. We are testing her as well. Beautiful Wednesday. Josh over at Knife Guy Mods did this recover for me. Absolutely beautiful. I'm testing this for the whole month. Josh is a really good guy. He has an Instagram page, knifeguy_2112. He's called Knife Guy Mods, and you can hit him up for a recover if you wish. Sorry, I have to have some OJ here. I can tell I'm coming down with a cold and my throat is like really irritating me today, so I'll probably be sipping on that the whole time. Yeah, hit up Josh for a recover, guys, if you want one. He does incredible work. This is called the Wednesday. It is no longer in production as we have run out of the material, and it was a limited batch, but you can get something like it. I'll put him down in the description below. As with Michael Richter over at Richter Knives, he does all the leather work for the channel. He makes the world's best leather slips, and we want him doing it full time. So hit up Richter Knives on Instagram. Get on his books. I did put a sharpening choil on this, though. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. I did that with my Dremel cutting tool. Put a little notch in there. It's much easier to sharpen on my stones now. But yeah, I did that the other day. I'll make a video on how to do that. I already made a couple, but I'm pretty sure they were mediocre because I did them a long time ago, and I can do better. So I'll make an updated video on how to do that because you can make them all different shapes. This is a really big one. I wanted her to have kind of a beefy choil, but you can make them small too. So there's Wednesday. She's always in the pocket. She's one of my best friends. But let's talk about the 940 because I've had mine for I don't even know how many years, guys. So many. And I've done a lot of work with this one. This is the one and only that I've ever had. I got one, and it came with the blade looking like it was maybe burnt. So I sent it back in, and I got this one, but I had never even used that one in the first place because it looked not good. So I ended up sending it back. But this is the 940 that I got, and I've used ever since. I've had it for, I don't know, 5 years maybe. I used it when I was in a blue-collar job. I've had blue-collar jobs basically my whole working career up until now, aside from when I was going to school for teaching and I was a teacher. But I've done construction, farming, worked in a warehouse, all that good stuff. Most of my jobs have been blue collar, and this is one of the knives that I used when I was in construction, and I tested it. I have a ton of content on it, using it in actual real world applications. I love the 940. Let's go over the pros of this knife that I have experienced in the past 5 years of using it. One of the biggest pros for me is how much blade you're getting in a very thin, elegant package. So check out how thin this is, okay? It's really like a gentleman's knife. Very thin, slim, melts away in your pocket. But when you open it up, you have more than a full-size knife, my lord. I think this is like almost 8 inches long. I have small hands if we're talking about boy hands because my audience is literally 99.9% men. So they call my hand small. But for a female, I have pretty large mitts for a girl. This is about an 8-inch knife, and my hand, when I hold it, covers basically the whole handle. Lots of blade length here. You have a really long blade. So you know you're carrying a very lightweight, minimalist package, but when you open it up, you have more than a full-size cutting tool, which I really like. I think it's utilizing just the overall design very, very well. Another thing that I like about the 940 is that it's not necessarily a knife, and I know people are going to argue me on this because they're going to be like, yes, it is a knife. To me, it's a multi-tool, right? Because that's what Warren Osborne designed it for. He was a knife maker and designer in Australia. He was a rancher, and he designed it to be a multi-tool to do everything from cutting hay bale twine to scraping horse hooves out in the field. This is all documented. I promise I'm not making it up. That's what that reverse tanto is for. He wanted to be able to pull rocks out of a horse's hoof if need be in the field. He wanted to be able to pry with it. So we have that reinforced tip. He wanted it to be, you know, a jack of all trades, master of none type knife that you could really rely on to do basically anything. It's just not going to do any of those things exponentially well, right? This is not going to be the world's best slicer. Okay? But he wanted to be able to do basically anything with it, and that's what the 940 does. It does exactly what it was intended to do, and I really like that. I really like how universal it is, right? It's very universal. I've used this end here as like a pommel for hammering. I've hammered nails into drywall with that. And again, some people are gonna be like, you shouldn't use your knife for anything other than cutting. You shouldn't use it as a multi-tool. You're abusing it. That's okay. I have abused my tools 100%. And if you don't like what I do with my knives, luckily you don't actually have to watch. You can leave. I'll see you at your mom's house, of course. You know, like, I can't help that. You're gonna see me there, but you don't have to watch this particular channel, right? You can just see me in real life eating meatballs at her house. So yeah, you know, I've used this as a hammer. I've obviously pried with that tip. That was a huge part of the testing, was prying with this reinforced tip. Paint cans, brackets. I did break the very literal actual tip off of this knife when I was in construction. There's a whole bunch of content on that, but I was doing something very dumb that would break the tip, and I did. I broke the very tip off, but as you can see, I fixed it. I just put it back on the stones, and it has a nice, sharp, pointy tip now. And it has, since I fixed it, very easy to remedy. But I've used this part to pry all types of things. I've used the whole blade to pry things. It's just, honestly, one of the biggest things about the 940 that I like is that I bonded with it, and that's why I enjoy using it. A lot of people are going to hold this, and if they like slicey dicey, they're not going to enjoy this. A lot of people actually grab this knife and hate it because it's not the best slicer. If you put a 15 DPS edge on it like I did, I don't know if I can catch that. It has a pretty fat bevel. I really tried to thin that edge out to make it a better slicer, and it surely did help. But a lot of people don't like it because it's just not the best performer in terms of slicing. And if you're one of those geometry people where you're just obsessed with cutting cardboard and you really like thin slicey geometry, you're going to hate this knife. I don't recommend it if you are that type of person. But if you're kind of one of those, like, use your shit mindset people like me, where you just kind of like to use tools that were intended for a specific purpose and then, like, use them for that purpose and enjoy it, you would like this, right? I've done a lot of farming. I've done a lot of blue collar work. I still do. I mean, my personal life is very, the 940 is like a representation of my personal life. Like, if you look at this, it literally says Erica's EDC across it, and it says use your shit on the other side. Like, this is me. You know, my clothes are dingy and beat up like this thing. My soul is beat up like this thing. My hands, like, you know, this is me. So I really enjoy the 940 because it does what it was intended to do, which aligns with my lifestyle. It may not align with yours, and then you're not going to appreciate it. But I just really like that you can beat the crap out of this thing, man, and it just doesn't stop. I love it, and it's crazy comfortable. Crazy, crazy comfortable. You have so much reach. I love the 940. It's one of my favorite knives of all time. Very excited that it's on the custom shop. But, you know, if you can get past the image of slicey dicey, you may enjoy this. And if you want a slicier version, just get the 945. It's really tiny, you know, that's the mini one, is the 945. Very small, but a much better slicer, and it may suit you better if you just need a thinner blade stock. So, yeah, this one is, it's old, it's abused. I never broke the springs on it. I've never, knock on wood, that wasn't actually wood. I've never broken an Omega spring. I know I will someday, but I never ever have. I know a lot of people have broken them. I think for me, maybe an aspect that has helped me not break them is that I don't fidget. I don't let myself fidget with my knives. And I know there are people that have literally like taken a Benchmade out of the box, flung it open and like broken a spring. Like, I know that happens. I'm just saying, like, in my logical mind, trying to keep the longevity of this knife and the moving parts, I don't let myself fidget with my tools because I just want to use them as tools, and I don't dick around with them. I'm trying to, you know, really keep the life of that spring going for when I actually do need to open this knife and cut with it and then close it. That's just how my mindset is. I know that is not the same as a lot of people, but I just try to keep my tools going as best as I can in terms of the moving parts. I don't care about thrashing on the edge too much because I know how to sharpen, and for me that's very enjoyable, is like using a knife, sharpening it, using it again, sharpening it. Like, I don't mind reducing the longevity of the blade by using it a lot because it's meant to cut. But if I can help, you know, keep those little parts going that are annoying to fix, I will. Hopefully that makes sense. I just love the 940, guys. I really, really adore this knife. I've tried to get this paint off. It's not even, some of this is paint, some of this is like caulking, some of it is cement stuff, like quickcrete shit. I've tried to get that off and it just doesn't come off. I genuinely think that if I were to try to strip this off, the coating on the aluminum would probably remove as well, and I actually really like the green, so I'm not gonna just scrub the shit out of this for no reason. And I honestly really like how it looks. You know, this is character. These are all marks and scratches and dings from stuff that it's done, so I don't really see the need in like removing it and removing the green coating. I really like how this looks. I love my 940. It tells a story. But I highly suggest trying one out if you can bring yourself to do it. You know, this is very much like the Emerson Mini A100, another one of my favorite knives. If you can bring yourself to use it and not expect slicey dicey, I think a lot of people would like using that knife, but it's surely not slicey and dicey. So yeah, there's my 940, the ode to the 940. I really love this one. I really do. It's a great knife. But I just wanted to talk at you a little bit today about it. Let me know down in the comments what you are carrying, what you did this weekend. I love talking with you guys. And just, let me just touch on this real quick because we talked about you use your shit in this video. I didn't make that up. I hope you guys know that. I didn't make up the whole use your shit thing. That was made up by Clint over at Alchemy. Alchemy-1. Great guy, very educated, very smart. He knows a lot about like sharpening. He knows a lot about Chris Reeve knives, Hinderers, Emersons. He's one of those guys that like has been on here forever making content, really good content. He doesn't make too much anymore, but his videos were very educational when he used to make them more often. He's up there in my mind with, you know, Super Steel Steve, Randy Johnson, that old school, really educational, good content that where you actually learned stuff, right? I really like what Clint used to do. He's still on Instagram and stuff, and he doesn't really make videos anymore, but if you look at some of his old stuff, like his channel, I think, is Alchemy-1. Incredible content. And yeah, he's the one that made up the use your shit thing. It was not me. It was him. And I literally asked him if I could like adopt that saying, because he's kind of, stepped aside now from the community. He's still there, but not in our face as much. I asked if I could kind of like adopt that saying from him, and he was like, oh my God, yeah. And he even said that he like made t-shirts at one point and stuff. Like, he's the one that made it up, not me. But it does not mean I am telling you to go beat the crap out of your knife and try to break it and to go abuse your property because I want you to. That is not what that's not what go use your shit means. He made it up kind of meaning like you use your knife as a cutting tool before you do a review on it. And I really like took off with that mentality. I really believe in using your knife like a decent amount before you do the review on it. So, my reviews are done after a whole month of consecutive testing. I won't review a knife unless I've carried it, used it, and sharpened it for a whole 30 days straight. That way I can come to you guys and tell you how the steel sharpened up, if anything bad happened with it, all of the good stuff that happened with it. That's what use your shit means, right? Because we see a lot of tabletop reviewers and a lot of just knife reviewers in general that will take the knife out of the package, maybe cut a piece of paper or an Amazon package, and then they do a full-blown review on it and they tell you to buy it. And we don't even know if it's actually going to work in real-life applications. You know what I'm saying? That's what use your shit means. It does not mean I'm telling you what to do with your property. I'm the last person that would tell you what to do with your property, my goodness. I tell your mom what to do, but Jesus, I would never think to tell someone what to do with their property that they spent their hard-earned money on. That is not what the movement is. The movement is to help push people to become confident in using their knives and actually seeing what it's capable of if they want to, and to wait to do a review until you actually have enough information on it to do the review, right? Because what's not fair is to go online and tell people to buy a product that you actually really never use. And I do genuinely think that sharpening a knife is an extremely important part of a review. Because check out, like think about that Mike Morin knife that I have, right? That $750 custom knife that I chipped the edge on by basically breathing next to it. Imagine if I had done a review on it, just taking it out of the package and reviewing the fit and finish of it and how beautiful it was. Imagine if I had been like, yes, this is worth $750, and then, I go and chip the edge by actually using it, and it's like, ooh, maybe there's something here that we need to investigate further before telling people to spend that money on it. Does that make any sense? I hope it does. I would never tell anybody what to do with their property. But it's an encouragement. It's literally like a friend cheering you on to just try to push yourself to use these knives as cutting tools and actually see what they're capable of before telling other people to buy them. That's all it is. But I just wanted to clear that up because I feel it's important. So that's all that use your shit means. If you have 200 safe queens, you go, boy. You go. For real. If you collect knives and you never use them and you just stare at them and you just fucking stare at them because it makes you happy, do it. I do very weird stuff. So I would not judge somebody for staring at their knives. I do some very weird stuff. I literally have socks that I wear for shoes and floor socks that are allowed to actually touch the floor. Like, my shoe socks cannot touch the floor. Only my floor socks can touch the floor. So who am I to tell somebody to go use their knives if they don't want to use them, okay? I'm a crackhead. I can't tell anybody what to do. OCD at its finest, right? Guys, I hope that you enjoyed that. This was kind of just a fun, rambling video on a beautiful Sunday, but I hope that you check out the Benchmade 940 if you wish, and I hope that maybe you go use your shit today if you want to, and I hope that you maybe try to sharpen your knives if that's something that interests you. I think that's a huge reason why people don't want to use their knives is because they don't know how to sharpen it when it goes dull. That's a massive, what word am I looking for? A massive reason as to why people don't use their knives, because they're afraid of when it goes dull and they can't sharpen it. So anyway, go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. I will see you on the next video. I love you so, so much. Take care, okay? I love you guys. See you at your mama's house. Cold and flu season is coming, so drink your orange juice, okay? I love you guys. Take care.